Greetings everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not too sure, but we might have some persons that have a different time zone from us here. So let's respect your geographies. I just introduced myself, so there's no point making it further introduction. Now for today we'll be going into business 101. I call it business 101 because it's important that we have the right drive for business before we go into business. Because sometimes when you don't understand why you want to go into business, then you might end up not knowing the next step to take. When a child understands that he's supposed to go to school, he knows that the end product or the end journey of going to school is that at the end of the day you acquire a certificate, and then you'll be able to defend that certificate and then move on ahead to either maybe advancing your education or going to add value to an organization with what you've learned. Right, so it's important to understand why first of all you want to go into business. Other businesses that are existing, why do they still exist now? One problem we have in this part of the world, especially for emerging economies like Nigeria and some other African nations, is that our businesses they don't live above a century. And it's very interesting because statistics have it that over 85% of businesses fail in Africa in their first 5 years. Now, first 5 years is just half a decade, and we're talking about a century. There are businesses, for example, a business like Kodak. Kodak is about 135 years. These are businesses that have lived across generations. As in, some people were born into this world and they made the business and they died and the business was still alive. Now, what made these businesses to succeed? What made these businesses to last this time? What it should tell you now is that the person that founded that business actually died and the business lived on. So for African businesses that even survive 5 years, the first 5 years in business, for African businesses that survive it, you discover that they don't last above the founder. And why don't they last above the founder? It's because there's no proper structure. So when you have a business that is alive because the founder is alive, that is not a business. In fact, it's not entrepreneurship. Alright? So sustainability is key. And sustainability has to rest on a model. There has to be a system that you create that even when you are sleeping, that business can run. You have expertise in that business that can help you sustain the business to even live above that, to live above yourself and live above time. Yesterday, I made mention of who are entrepreneurs, who are philanthropists, and who are hustlers. And there are also people that are time wasters. I made it clear that if you are offering value and you are not getting money, you are a philanthropist. Bill Gates was once an entrepreneur, and now 85% of his life is moving towards 85% of his life is moving towards excuse me, let me end this call. There's a call coming in. Yeah, so 85%. Give me a second, please. Yes, so like I was saying, I'm back. So 85% of Bill Gates' life now is all about caregiving. It's all about philanthropy, trying to solve health problems in Africa and the rest. He has made his money. Now, as a philanthropist, you are offering value, but you are not getting something in return. All right. Then a hustler is someone that is, you are not offering value, you are just looking for money. So a typical definition of a hustler is somebody that will see that rice is selling 15,000 naira in Kano State, and is selling 30,000 naira in Akwa Ibom State. You will now do the truck of rice from Kano and move to Akwa Ibom. Now, essentially, you are not trying to solve a problem, because Akwa Ibom might have a problem of maybe soil fertility. Now, if you really want to improve sustainability, like food sufficiency and sustainability in Akwa Ibom, you should look around how to, improve the soil nutrients of Akwa Ibom State. Okay, I think I can hear his voice. Can we meet our? Can you all hear me? Maybe sure that. Can you all hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Please, okay. There's a lady that was just answering call now. Can you please mute yourself? Everybody, please mute yourself. Nobody is speaking right now except Mr. Emmanuel. So please, let us have our devices muted. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, moderator. Now, if you truly want to solve a problem of soil fertility, then you should look around improving the soil nutrients, and then trying to aggregate young people and women. In fact, it's a way of empowerment, because that rice you are towing down from Kano State to Akwa Ibom State, you are just taking advantage of price differences, and then you are making money and not adding value. Because if the problem in Akwa Ibom is soil fertility and you solve that problem, you end up not just improving food sufficiency, but you also create job opportunities, because the women that are not doing anything will now go into farming. Now they have a land that they can now cultivate. The young people can now go into farming, and then processing industries will now come on board and start processing the rice to finished products. And before you know it, manufacturers will now even come and say, okay, now that we have a finished product of this rice, how can we now use it to get other little products from this already processed product. So with that way, you have created a value chain that people can tap into at different points. Right? So as a hustler, you are just making money, you are not adding value. But as an entrepreneur, you are adding value and then making money. A time waster is someone that is not adding value and you are not making money. So you have this idea of yours that the idea is not, the market is not appreciating the idea. The market doesn't like the market. They don't find the idea, worth putting their money into. And yourself, you are still carrying that idea around. Now, at the end of the day, you are not adding value because the market has not accepted the idea. And at the same time, you are not making money. Because if the market doesn't accept the idea, you cannot pay yourself. You cannot be like Alibaba. Alibaba once had the Alibaba we know now that is a giant e-commerce. Initially, they were not profiting. In fact, when they started Alibaba in China have not known what is internet. Internet was just kind of advancing in the western part of the world, the US. And he went to US. He saw the future in internet, how people can connect themselves globally, how businesses can connect themselves, and he decided that, okay, this is an idea that he can bring to China. In fact, he tried googling something about China in the US, and nothing came out. That means China was not googleable. There was nothing about China then in the 90s. He had to come to China to see that, he take advantage of this internet. But the market didn't, because China don't know what is internet. They were 57 when they started, but it was 17 that later stayed with him until they started making money. And today we have Alibaba as a billionaire in China and one of the most respectable entrepreneurs we have in the world. So his story might be different from yours, but the most important thing is to know what drives you. Now we'll be looking at a few things. We'll be looking at knowing your why, knowing when, knowing how, and knowing who. It's very important. Now, how do you know your why? Why is very important. I discussed with a few friends, and one of the things I tell them is that if you need a business to survive, or you need a business to make two ends meet, then it's not the cure or the antidote of that situation at that moment is not a business, because no business guarantee you, except you want to do rich quick scheme. No business guarantee you starting up immediately and making money. In fact, some persons is at their fifth business that they even start making money, or they start surviving with the business. Now, will you be able to bear that pain, of living a wretched life, starting the first business, it didn't work. You start the second business, it didn't work. Start the third business, it didn't work, and you're waiting for maybe the fourth or fifth business. And there are some persons that it's in their first business that they start making money. So it's different strokes for different folks, right? But you have to know your why. It shouldn't be a means of survival. You should, to an extent, have a stream of income that is coming in, before you can now start thinking of, okay, let me start the business. But on a second thought, if you have a business that you know that you understand the when, that like the timing is now. You can invest yourself into it, meaning that you don't really need to have maybe another stream of income to get started with that business. You don't need to have another stream of income to get started with that business. You just see that maybe the market is just ripe for it. You invest yourself into it, you launch into it, and then before you know it, you can start, having other additional products. But you have to, because you will get frustrated. People will not tell you these things, but I will tell you for free. People will not tell you, they will tell you start a business, start this one, this, that, sack your boss. When you sack your boss, you will realize that you will go and beg your boss again. Don't sack your boss if you have not thought about how to sustain yourself when the boss is not there. You only sack your boss when you know that yes, you've accumulated a certain amount of money that can, last you a period of time, and you have investment models. And that is why as entrepreneurs we also need to understand investment and investment options, understand portfolio management and the rest, so that even while you are trying to run a business, you have an investment that you can easily bring money from your proceeds and put in back. So with that, your investment is working for you without necessarily you putting yourself inside it. So you are more like an investor, right? So that is basically that. You need to know your why. Your why is very important. Then another thing is knowing your when. One of the top reason that businesses fail in Africa is because, one, they have a wrong timing. Can you hear me? They have a wrong timing. Now, wrong timing has to do with launching so early or launching very late. Launching so early or launching very late. Knowing your when is very important. Now, when Alibaba started that thing, the timing was very early, like it was so early. But Alibaba had to take through that pain. I think they said close to 3, 4, 5 years. In fact, the story is very touching and pathetic. Like, they had to, it's an e-commerce platform, so they had to be they will go to their platform, they will list a product, and they will go and buy it by themselves, so that it will show that these products have high purchase, have maybe 4 purchase from so buyer, and then they will rate it. Because e-commerce, they have rating and all those features. They have to pass through those hurdles, putting up their own product themselves. It's just like setting up an e-commerce platform now. You go and put your okay, maybe you're a fashion designer, and then you're not getting buyers. You put up your fashion there or whatever design you've done. You go and buy it yourself and bring it back to your house. Imagine going through that pain. But it was because he was very convinced And that is another side of the story. It's another side of, launching your business. When you have the very strong conviction, and strong conviction is not about God told me in the dream. Yes, I understand the fact that there is revelation. I'm a Christian, and I understand the fact that there's a place where you can have a divine, revelation of what to get started with. But then, when you have a revelation of an idea, you see, that same God will give you the knowledge to have a substantial knowledge about the market and the industry. To understand that, okay, now this is the idea, and this is at so year, this idea will be very relevant. So because this idea will be so relevant, it will be relevant at so year. Now these are the strategies I'm going to use to keep body and soul together. These are the strategies I'm going to use to keep body and soul together till it gets to that year. Zoom, for example, Zoom was only known by very few people. Now, for example, this free conferencing app now, a lot of persons don't know about the free conferencing app. There are apps like Cisco Web, apps like GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. There's one that China use. They call it DingTalk for Chinese people. Those apps, in fact, Zoom started, I think, in 2013 or 2003. I can't remember. By Eric Yuan. Nobody knew about, even myself, I didn't know about Eric Yuan till February. Between February and March this year. I had to go and check who is the founder of this Zoom. And I saw that it was one Eric S. Yuan. A lot of persons didn't know about Zoom. But what convinced this guy that there will be a time where, or there will even be a need of people having to converse with a communication platform. Or people having to converse with a communication platform where you can be anywhere, and then we'll have a business conference, flyers everywhere. And these things it has decentralized platforms for us. You can have a meeting one-on-one with the governor of Abia State. There was one meeting, but although I missed out on the meeting, and still it's still any meeting now, that the former governor of Abia State, Anambra State, Peter Obi, was supposed to be on that call. Now these are meetings that when they fix it, the bouncer will not allow you to go inside, because you are not a son of a senator, neither are you a son of a minister. In fact, you will even get invitation. You will not even know when they do the meeting. They will do the meeting and you will be hearing it in news that one meeting held. But because of technology, you will see these things fly. It's very easy. Somebody will put it on status. You say, please share me the link, and you will join. You will join the meeting, and you have a meeting one-on-one with prominent people. You have meetings for or even organizers of conferences now. You no longer have to pay for somebody staying in England to come down to Nigeria for your conference. Just with that Zoom meeting, everything is decentralized. Money is no longer the problem, because now you can now optimize costs and organize huge conferences. Now, government of nations even realize that, okay, come on, we need to, in fact, if this thing had happened before, if it had happened before the World Economic Forum, which is a gathering of notable entrepreneurs, presidents, and the rest, it would have held over Zoom or maybe another communication platform. You can imagine people of that kind, of that magnitude. And if you happen to get that link, you join them. You can screenshot your picture where it appears that you are part of a World Economic Forum, and man, if you know how to leverage platforms, you leverage it and get other opportunities. Leveraging is very important, right? And even in this platform, you can private chat. Like in Zoom, there's a room for private chatting a contact. You can go through participants that are in the Zoom call and private chat somebody. If you are very good at selling yourself, and that is where pitch deck will come in maybe in second to the last day. If you are very good at making irresistible words, making irresistible comments that can catch somebody at a go, you can easily, in a few words, pitch yourself privately. And the person is interested. That is maybe after you've researched that person and you know the person's interest. Because people respond when you are speaking towards their interest or speaking towards their fantasy. That's when they respond. People are that they are that selfish, if I can use that word. You know, you can't see somebody that you can't see Dangote that is doing salt now, doing salt and indomie, and you can't be telling him about which analogy will I use now? Which analogy? You go and tell him, okay, maybe tell him about tell him about electric cars. Now he knows he has one petrochemical plant he's setting up somewhere in Lagos. He's setting up one major refinery. You not be telling him about electric car. You know, he will snub you. Alright? So having the right words to tell whoever you meet is very important. And that is why Skill Up Week is availing you not just learning these vocational skills and digital skills, but also learning how to pitch it, learning how to bring in partners. Because the way you talk to a founder is different from the way you talk to a partner. If you want to get somebody to maybe partner with you, or you want to get somebody to become a co-founder, or you want to get somebody to become a board of advisor, is communication. And the way you communicate will determine if that person will say a yes or say a no. And then it has everything to do with your survival in that business. You know, it has everything to do with your survival in that business. And sometimes when you feel communication is a problem, you can now get a partner or a co-founder that will, you know, handle that part of business communication. Business communication is a skill on its own, right? So knowing your why is important. Knowing your when is important. You know, you have to know why. Am I doing this thing because I feel there is a gap? A friend of mine chatted me last year, and he told me that there is this friend of his that in Lagos, they wanted to do wedding. So when they went for shopping, they were sweating all through the market, and at the end of the day, they didn't get the material they were looking for, and they just had 2 days to the wedding. And we were discussing. I said, come, what if we set up a wedding platform where it will just be basically for, if you want to do if the girl has agreed, if you don't kneel down, if you have knelt down and the girl say yes, you don't agree, you just go to the website and everything is catered for. You can, with a click, you can, you know, get an event planner, you can get a caterer, you know, with a click you can have a list of samples of design, of materials that you want to use for your wedding, your ashebi or whatever, just at the comfort of your home, you know, without sweating. You are still on your makeup and you are getting what someone else that did makeup and go to the market will not even get after the heat have cleaned the whole makeup that the person has on her face. You know, so at the comfort of your home, you can easily check and see, okay, they will have their delivery time. Okay, we deliver in 2 days or 3 days time. You say, okay, see, I need this material and I need 50 pieces of this material. It's left for that person to go to the market and go and sweat and bring the 50 pieces for you. You know, so that was he saw it. It was of the friend. He saw that as an idea. Though we didn't go ahead with that idea. I think, now I even remember the idea. I'll chat him up and see how far. We didn't go idea. We just discussed it and I said this is a good idea. We can come together and build it. Now, that could be your why. It can just be that maybe in an environment, and you just discover that there's this thing that people always complain about. Because you have that entrepreneurial mindset. The entrepreneurial mindset will lead you to, you know, finding a solution. Entrepreneurs, they don't complain. Entrepreneurs leverage. Entrepreneurs don't complain. They leverage. They leverage on a problem and create a solution, and people start buying. You know, when they see a bridge, when they see a fence or a blockade, they push it down and use it as a bridge and cross over to the next side of life. The next side of living, because everything that has to do with entrepreneurship is easing livelihood. Entrepreneurship is easing livelihood. Before now, you can't be doing this thing we are doing. This communication we are doing now, we can't be doing it because you don't even have a phone in the first place. You can only go to phone booth and go and make call. You pay per minute. Okay, I can see that I have just 6 minutes. Right, so you can only do and have and go and pay per minute in a phone booth. But now somebody saw that common. Why instead of people queuing to make call, what if they have all these phones in their pocket? That was an idea. Somebody might have queued there, and at the end of the day, maybe queue till the phone booth person got exhausted, and the person didn't make call. You have to decide and say, what if these phones, we find these phones in the pockets of these individuals? Making lives easy. Now, at the comfort of your home, you can call. In fact, even before the phone booth, we can only reach our loved ones through letters. We can only reach our loved ones through letters. My dad told me a story. He told me a story. Then I was small when this thing happened. But he told me this story recently, a few years back. He said then, because I was giving birth to in Bauchi, and he was in Abuja then. So then normally he communicates with my mother through letter. And sometimes if he wants to send foodstuffs, he will send foodstuffs sometimes send through post office. Then he now got a friend who he thought he was a friend. He didn't know that guy was not a friend. So he now started using that guy because that guy can deliver without necessarily charging what NIPOs used to charge them. So he would send food through this guy. This guy will carry the food and go back to Bauchi and sell the food. He will not give it to my mom. He bought the money and everything. He will come back to Abuja and say that he has delivered. He will say, "How is my wife?" He said they are fine. In fact, he said that if there is another thing that he should also send. He will give another food. The guy will carry the food and the money. He will go and he will not deliver the food until one day, he was not trying. He not communicated via letter to be sure that my mom was receiving the food. And my mom responded that hunger they kill them there. And then I was still small. Hunger they kill us there. Now he has not received anything. And that was when he stopped and now started using NIPOs again. Now, before now, those things were not. It would have been very easy to even communicate to her and tell her that on phone that, come, I'm sending so this thing. And when at the estimated time of arrival, you will call and ask, have you received it? This is what technology has done for us, and this is what entrepreneurship has been able to do, making lives easy for people. All right. So knowing your why might be, okay, I want to make life easy for my community. I want to make life easy for my students. I want to make life easy, whether you're a student or whatever. I want to make life easy. Very important. Knowing your when is also important. Knowing your when has to do with, do people really need this thing? And that will come to that when we start discussing your key activities in a business model canvas. You have to carry out a survey. It can be an online survey, it can be a physical survey. But by all means, ensure that the survey you're carrying out is around your targeted market. A friend of mine wanted to do, he was trying to develop a product for married women, that is, women that are breastfeeding children. And he was posting this survey in his contacts. The people in his contacts are only people that are in 300 level, 200 level. Most of them are not married yet. And their response to that survey will mislead you as a business person. It will mislead you as a business person. Alright, so why carrying out a survey to know your when, if this idea is actually right? You have to be very sure that you are carrying out the survey with the right people. If you are doing a survey for people, if you are doing a survey around real estate, be sure you are carrying out a survey around people that are prospective homeowners, around people that already own homes and they are trying to move from one place to another. You are trying to create a survey around maybe visitors. All right. So your survey should target the market that you want to your potential market, and your survey will be able to help you know when, if that time is actually the right time for your idea. And you create a survey having a loop that allows them advise you on what they think about the product, or what other alternative would they like to use for that particular problem you are trying to solve. Another thing is knowing your how. Knowing your how is important. How do I get started? Now there are different hows for different folks. If you are from a rich family, your daddy can give you one careless 1.5 or 2 million. So I call it careless because at the end of the day you might fail and he will not ask you for it. So it's careless. So he might just give you the money. So there are different hows. There are different how to starting a business. Now, if you are from maybe a family that is rich and also disciplined, they can give you a loan, a family loan, and say, okay, we are giving you this 1 million, go and start this business. But if it doesn't work, there are families that are that strict. They are rich and they are disciplined. You know, they will give you the loan, and if you fail, you have to pay back, maybe without interest. And there are some persons that maybe you are not so much from a buoyant background, and then you want to see how you get started. Now, I don't advise to go with a loan if you want to start a business. If you go with a bank loans are around 30% interest or thereabouts. Except you are going for maybe the government loan that are single digits. Alright, but loans are not advisable to get started with a business, because you cannot predict, and anything can happen. Like how COVID came and disrupted the whole, entrepreneurship space. If somebody had carried out a loan then to start up a transport business, you would imagine where the person would be now, because there was no transportation. If you had carried out a loan to start, if you had carried out a loan to start, maybe what other thing was not moving during that corona, or just any business at all, anything can happen. Government policy, only one government policy can take you out of business. Right, so it's important that if you want to get started, first of all, get started with your own little money. Look for people that are around you. Get started with your own little money, but that your little money will not help you scale. That little money is to help you convince funders. Right, it's to help you convince funders. Now you can have your little business, your little money to set up maybe your branding, have your branding in place, have your little stores in place, have your business plan and the rest in place. And then with that little funding that you've used to set up your brand, you can go for grants. If you know your audience very well, if you understand how to pitch, which we are going to teach you, how to pitch, how to present your business model canvas, your pitch deck and your business plan, if you're able to now secure grants. Grants are important if you want to get started. Now, a popular grant is Tony Elumelu grant. They give you 1.8 million. I think that it should have increased now that dollar is about 460 something. But it's $5,000 that they give. They don't ask you for any equity. They don't ask you to pay back. It's just free money. So long as you can convince them that your idea is a good idea. All right. So, and then, convincing somebody has to do with, okay, maybe you put in 30 money to say, okay, this is our website, this is our this, these are that, and just to have an advantage over other applicants, right? But they fund your idea that is still in the paper. Your idea that is still in the paper, they fund that idea. So looking out for grants are very important. So the house can be different for different folks. You can also have someone that maybe just take advantage of an investor, just take that risk on you and just put in that money. So you just meet this investor, you stumble across this investor, and you pitch this idea, and the investor likes the idea. But he's not too sure that this idea is going to scale. He just take that risk at you because he feels that maybe you have that resilience, you have the skill, you have the ability and the passion to pursue that business. Because those are one of the things that funders they try to look out for when they fund a business. Funders, Y Combinator, they tell you that they don't fund your idea, they fund you. They want to be sure that you have that strength, you have that ability, you are competent enough to start that business. Because at the end of the day, the idea might change, but what's the strength lies in the founder. That is why as an entrepreneur you must build yourself, learn certain skills, learn fundraising skills, learn business communication skills, learn business strategy, learn how to talk to your customers, learn how to retain customers, right? Because these are skills that when you approach somebody that's supposed to give you money, when he sees these skills in you, the person will fund. He's not funding your idea. Ideas can change. Kodak today, Kodak was once photography. What they are known for, the popular Kodak, what they are known for is photography, camera. But today Kodak they are into health. There is an American company, they are into health. So how come a founder of camera and photography then move into health? They took advantage of this COVID pandemic and they moved into health. That is the resilience of the founder. That is the strength of the founder. I'm opportune to have known certain businesses that our boss here, Boss Tunde, have done in the past. Now you see that he has done certain businesses and been successful in those businesses. Now it shows that he has some sachets of resilience, to be able to be dynamic, to be able to take advantage of ideas, launch those ideas and they become businesses. Now, and a founder that is not competent enough, if an idea fails, the person will go back and rest on his oasis. The person will not see. In fact, maybe he might have stumbled across that idea by chance, and because that idea just fade away, the person will now die down. The entrepreneurship mindset about the entrepreneurship in that person has just died, right? But an entrepreneur is always full of ideas. Today you have this idea, tomorrow you have this idea, and you keep moving, right? So it's important. In one of our classes, I'm going to list out skills. Let me write it down before I forget. I'm going to list out skills that entrepreneurs should begin to get, and most of these skills you can get it for free. When I tell you that I'm certified by Harvard in entrepreneurship in emerging economies, I didn't go to Harvard to get that course. It was online from EDX, and when I have that certificate certified by Harvard, when I put it out there, somebody will be curious to know, oh come on, you have a certificate from Harvard, entrepreneurship in emerging economies. That is because I have this passion for learning. You have to be a lifelong learner, because entrepreneurship is very dynamic, and if you are not moving with the trend, the way technology is changing things, if you are not moving with the trend, then you'll be kicked out of business. Alright, so you have to learn. That is very important. And learning will now have to do with your ability to learn will now tell if people will actually take risk on you. Because anybody that is giving you money is taking risk on you. They are trying to put money in something that they are not seeing the future. Anything can happen, right? So you have to have that personality that is convincing and appealing enough to attract funding, appealing enough to attract partners, to attract co-founders and attract stakeholders, right? And that thing is knowing who. Knowing who is also important. You need to know who are the people that will be needing. Do I need distributors? Do I need a board of advisors? Do I need a co-founder? Who are the people I need to have this business? Do I need artisans? So you have to be very sure of the people you need. Okay, I think my time is up. All right, so let me just run through. There are some other things I wanted to talk about. You also have to get a structure. Let me end with that. You have to get a structure. A structure is important. You don't want to be running a business and they will call you at home and tell you that your brother break leg, and you use the money that you want to use for. Okay, let me say you use the money that you even want to use to pay a supplier. All right, you want to use the money you want to use to pay a supplier, and then go and fund somebody that break leg. Now, I'm not saying you should not be empathetic. You have to be empathetic, but then you have to differentiate. Your business should be able to stand alone on its own, and that is where we talk about registering a business. So the moment you register a business, it becomes a legal entity on its own. So what that means is that as a legal entity on its own, somebody can sue that business without you being involved. Alright, somebody can sue a business without you being involved, because that business is standing on its own. So you are paying yourself salary. You cannot just come and take money anyhow from the business. So even if they tell you somebody break leg, you will now go to your salary and take money to fund the person that break leg. Alright, so your business is standing on its own. That means you have given it a structure. So because you have given it a structure, you have employees, you have different budget for different activities. You have monthly activities that can help you run that business, and with that you'll be able to know when your business wants to fail and when your business is thriving. You'll be able to keep track of, okay, This is the revenue we've made for the month. Okay, in so month we made less revenue. Why was it so? You know, what was our marketing budget? Did our marketing budget, did it go down? Did it go down in this month that affected our revenue? And that is where business analysis comes in place. So we have to try to correlate. Okay, if I increase market budget, for example, in your first month in business, you might have a market budget of, let's say, 30,000 naira. You look at the revenue, you will now say, okay, come, let me increase this market budget by 10%. If you are increasing it, okay, let me say by 50%. 30,000 naira for marketing budget. If you increase it by 50%, that is 45,000 naira. You are adding 50,000 naira to the already 30,000 naira, and that is 45,000 naira. If you have a marketing budget for a second month, 45,000 naira. Now, if that marketing budget for 45,000 naira, you put it in the second month, increases the revenue of that second month, you will now know that, okay, now I think in the third month I have to increase my marketing budget. Now you have to know the limits, because there's a point where you get to in increasing your marketing budget, it will no longer be yielding that revenue. It will remain stunted. So you have to remain at that point and then now start exploring other ways of increasing revenue. Exploring other ways could be maybe, you know, improving on your customer retention strategy. And so that is why you have to be you know, very detailed, and you have to be very detailed and kind of what's the word now? You have to be detailed and very critical about, you know, the retaining your customers. Like when you take data of your customer, you're able to know, okay, this customer that came today, he didn't come tomorrow. He didn't come he came yesterday, he didn't come today. Why didn't that customer come today? Or this customer was very, he was patronizing us very well in the first month. In the second month, why didn't this customer come? And that is where now you now have to look out your customer retention strategy. Was there something you didn't do well that you're supposed to do well? You know, is there a competitor doing better than you? You know, and that is why you have to set models, set system that allows you, you know, communicate or allows you get feedback from your customers. Now, take for example, if it's a very big company that necessarily maybe you will not have, your customers will not have access to you as the manager or the CEO, you can have a complaint box somewhere. When you have a complaint box somewhere, tell your receptionist or tell your whoever that is the face of your business or your company, tell them that one thing that they should not miss out while they communicate with first-time customer is this. Tell them that, please, for your complaint, there is a complaint box there. We would appreciate that you write down your complaint there, or write down a recommendation there, or write down a testimonial there. Or maybe if what served you very well, just take out 2 minutes of your time, we'll have a paper. Find out, have a paper. Have a customized paper where they can easily write these things down. Tell them that they are free to keep it anonymous. You know, they should write their grievances. So you make it as a core, you make it as a core, you know, practice for your receptionist or your help desk, that when a customer comes, first thing first is telling them that there's a complaint box there. All right, so they can easily go and air their view in that complaint box, and then you can decide on maybe reviewing this complaint box maybe every 2 weeks in the month, or whichever way that your company decides on. That is for a big company. If it's for a small business, try to have FaceTime discussion with them. You know, try to after discussion, after they've bought from you, you know, have somebody stand by that asks them what was their experience. All right, my time is up. Okay, my time is up. So now, lastly, if you are dealing with maybe a digital stuff that has to do with online purchase, so you don't necessarily have a FaceTime discussion or FaceTime purchase, so it's like a contactless purchase. What you do is that you have a kind of a platform or a system that collects their data. A system that collects that. It could be their email, it could be their phone number, it could be anything. And you let them know that at the end of, you can automate it. There are a lot of email marketing platforms that are automated. You can automate it, and immediately somebody buys, maybe in the next 5 minutes or in the next 10 minutes or in the next 1 hour or immediately. it emails the person and tell the person how, you know, how excited your company is by having them as a buyer, you know, how just, and that has to do with copywriting and sales copy. There's a lot to learn actually, but I'm not going to dwell on that because the time is up. So that has to do with sales copy and the rest, copywriting, you know, talking to their emotions, appealing to their emotions, that somebody will read your email and smile and click on the link. You know, so there's an art and science around those stuff. So you can have an email marketing service that allows you email them and let them know, you know, how excited you are about them buying your product, and then letting them know that, okay, please, if there's something we didn't do well, kindly click this link and then lay your complaint. We will be so glad to you know, get your feedback. In fact, you can even make it by filling this form. We are giving you 10% discount on your next purchase. So that is, even if they are reluctant on maybe airing their view, by having that 10% discount on a second purchase, they will just go ahead and say, come on, let me just click it and tell them how far. And you've already done your analysis. It has to also do with financial analysis. You've done your analysis to be sure that that 10% discount is not affecting your overall business. So, for example, that 10% discount is maybe 20% of your profit. You know that, yes, you have 80% of your profit left for you. All right. So you've done the financial analysis to know that, oh, if I have 10% giving out to these people to fill this form or to give me back their feedback, the 10% is not eating into my capital. Is that the 10% is a fraction of my profit. So that means that I'm still in business. So thank you so much, and I hope to have you guys some other time. There are other things to discuss, but time is no longer on my side, and the facilitator already told me that my time is up. So once again, my name is Emmanuel. You can reach me on WhatsApp if you have anything to, if you need to get a strategy on how to, you know, take your business from one phase to the next phase, or probably you just want to secure funding. You need to get your business documents right, your pitch deck, your business plan, or whatever. And my contact is open. My personal website is www.emmanuelohanwe.com. I think it's in the chat box there. Then my WhatsApp number is 0703